Happy birthday to Jose. It's his 27th today.
A 27th birthday greeting from Texas announcers Greg Lucas and Norm Hitzges on Tuesday night for Jose Canseco, but Nolan Ryan not impressed as he strikes him out in the top of the first. The Rangers hosting the Oakland A's. In the bottom of the third, Dean Palmer, the rookie who was just called up from the minor leagues last week, hits a two-run home run, his third of the year, and that gives Texas a 2-0 lead. Palmer had hit 22 home runs in the minor leagues. Then the very next pitch thrown by Bob Welch, also taken deep, this time by Rafael Palmeiro, his 10th of the year, and it's 3-0 Texas. Now on the top of the fourth, the score 3-1 Rangers after Harold Baines hits a home run. But here, Nolan Ryan strikes out Willie Wilson, his 100th strikeout this year. That's the 22nd year in a row that Ryan has struck out 100 or more batters. That sets the Major League record that he had previously shared with Don Sutton. In the bottom of the fourth, Palmeiro hits his second home run of the game. This is a two-run blast off Welch. Palmeiro's 11th of the year makes it 6-1 Texas. But Bobby Valentine would see his club lose the lead. In the top of the fifth, Jose Canseco hits his 19th homer, a three-run blast off Ryan on his birthday. So that cuts Texas' lead to 6-4. The A's would score a couple more times in the top of the sixth to tie it at 6. And Canseco has his fans, no doubt alluding to that newspaper photo a couple of months ago when Canseco was seen in Madonna's apartment building. Now on the bottom of the eighth, the score tied at 6 apiece, but Steve Buechele would break the tie as he bounces this single up the middle. This would score Julio Franco and Brian Downing, and Texas takes an 8-6 lead. Then rookie Ivan Rodriguez picks up his fourth hit of the game, an RBI single to score Juan Gonzalez. That makes it 9-6 Texas, and that would be the final score as Jeff Russell would come in to pick up his 16th save. He would strike out Harold Baines, the tying run at the plate, to end this one. The A's lose for the 9th time in their last 12 games. Rick Honeycutt, the loser, now 0-2. Kenny Rogers gets the win. He's 5-7. The Rangers equal a season high with 19 hits.
From County Stadium on Tuesday evening, Tom Trebelhorn playing chicken with Fred Stanley, if you know what I mean, as the Milwaukee Brewers are hosting the Boston Red Sox. Mark Knudsen to Tony Pena. No score in the second inning. Look at the bloop single and look at Willie Randolph and Billy Spiers crash into each other. Pena gets credit for a single, and this is a pretty funny play, if I do say so myself, and I just did. Meanwhile, Trebelhorn and Stanley, well, they're getting very entertained by each other, aren't they? Look at my boo-boo. No score in the third inning. Wade Boggs at the plate against Mark Knudsen, and look at Greg Vaughn in left field. He makes the catch, a great play, and then gets plenty of face into the wall. No score in the early innings, Boston and Milwaukee. Top four in the action begins as far as the runs. Ellis Burks at the plate, and this is an error by Dale Swaim at third base. It enables Mike Greenwell to score 1-0 Boston. In the same inning, the fourth inning, Luis Rivera at the plate against Mark Knudsen. Rivera with a key RBI single times two, a 2 RBI single into left field. It scores Tom Brunansky and Ellis Burks. 3-0 Sox. The sac fly makes it 4-0 Sox after 3.5 innings. It's 4-1 Boston bottom four when Paul Molitor gets an RBI single through the middle of Tom Bolton, and Dale Swaim scores. 4-2 Sox lead it through 4. Then Mike Greenwell at the plate, and he delivers a solo home run, his 6th home of the year, into the right field bleachers, or just to the left of them, that is, and into the bullpen. 5-2 Sox led it after 4.5 innings. With the score 6-3 Sox leading it, Ellis Burks at the plate in the 6th inning against Darren Holmes, and he breaks it open. Burks hits a 3-run home run into the left field seats, his 10th home of the year. That makes it 9-3 Sox through 6. And by the end of the 8th inning, it was a 13-4 Sox lead. So, with the game blown away, Rick Dempsey, the old veteran, comes in to pitch the 9th for Milwaukee. He does give up 1 run on 3 hits in the 9th. Here, Luis Rivera drives in Kevin Romine to make it 14-4, a 22-hit performance by the Red Sox. Meanwhile, Rick Dempsey, well, he's tired. He had to pitch tonight.
And the Pirates are at Wrigley Field on Tuesday afternoon to take on the Cubs. And in the top of the first, Andy Van Slyke takes Sean Bosky deep for a solo home run, his 8th of the year. And the Pirates take a 1-0 lead, 36th RBI for Van Slyke. The Cubs would get that run back in the bottom half of the first inning on an ill-advised play by second baseman Jose Lean with Ryan Sandberg at the plate. He hits this bouncer to Lean, and he tries to go home to nail Doug DeCenzo, but DeCenzo's safe on the fielder's choice, and the game tied at 1. Sandberg then would try to steal second base, in fact would do so, but watch as Mike LaVallier's throw would hit Sandberg in the helmet, and then Jose leaned in the face. Lean's glasses went flying, but he was actually okay. It was Sandberg who got hurt, as the ball would sandwich his fingers between his helmet, and he would have to leave this game in the bottom of the first and go to the hospital for x-rays, which proved negative. Still, Sandberg will be out for 5 to 7 days. Now move to action in the top of the second. Former Cub Gary Varsho hits his first Major League home run. This is a 2-run shot off Bosky, and the Pirates take a 3-1 lead. It would be a tough day for Bosky, who'd worked just 3+ innings and surrender 8 earned runs and 11 hits. Bosky now trailing 5-1 in the top of the third, and he takes out his frustrations on Mike LaValliere as he hits him with his pitch. LaValliere wouldn't complain, but teammate Bobby Bonilla would give him an earful from the dugout, and his manager Jim Leland also gives Mark Grace a piece of his mind. Now move to action in the top of the fourth. The score now 7-1 Pittsburgh, and Varsho would hit this triple off Heath Slocum. This would score Bonilla and make it an 8-1 game in favor of Pittsburgh. The Pirates would get 4 triples in this game as they would bang out 22 hits. That's their most since August 11th of 1979 when they picked up 23. Slocum wouldn't do much better than Bosky as he allowed 5 earned runs and 10 hits in just 3 1/3 innings, including Varsho's second home run of his career in the top of the second of the game. And this would make it 13-1. Pittsburgh would go on to a 13-4 victory. Doug Drabek would go the distance to pick up the win. In fact, Doug DeCenzo would be called on to pitch for the second time in 5 days. He actually strikes out Joe Redfield in the 9th inning. Still, the Cubs get buried 13-4. Drabek, the winner, is 7-8. Bosky, the loser, falls to 3-8.
The cameraman at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia has nothing better to do than bother Rex Hudler. And we go on to Tuesday evening's contest between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Phillies, and the Fanatic, well, he ought to get an AIDS test. Bottom 3, Ken Hill pitching to Mickey Morandini, Jose Oquendo to Ozzie Smith to Pedro Guerrero, a pretty 4-6-3 double play. No score with Ray Langford batting in the top of the 4th inning against starter for Philadelphia Tommy Green. Langford hits his first home run of the year, a solo blast, and it's a 1-0 Cards lead. And Pedro Guerrero would be the next man up, and you won't see it on camera because, well, we're looking at other things. The Fanatic playing dead. This is Guerrero hitting the ball, and that's the result. John Kruk can't get it. Guerrero hits a home run over the fence for back-to-back homers, Langford and Guerrero, for Pete, his 5th homer of the year. Of course, a solo blast. It's a 2-0 Cardinal lead in the 4th inning. In that same 4th, Tom Pagnozzi at the plate. He doubles as John Kruk has all sorts of trouble tripping over his feet. It's a double that scores Felix Jose, 3-0 Cards through 4. Bottom 5, Darren Dalton at the plate against Hill. Dalton would homer, his 3rd homer of the year, a solo blast as well. It's a 3-1 Cards lead. In that same 5th inning, Pedro Guerrero makes a pretty play at first base with John Morris at the plate. He hits a chopper that Guerrero snags and throws to Hill, covering 3-1 Cards through 5. The Cards with a sac fly in the 8th makes it 4-1, but the Fanatic dances on anyway. Top 9, the Cardinals get 2 insurance runs. Todd Zeal against Darrell Ackerfeld gets an RBI single up the middle. It plates Tom Pagnozzi, 5-1 Cards. And Ray Langford, who earlier homered, gets this single to center field. Ozzie Smith scores at 6-1 Cards in the bottom of the 9th. And Lee Smith comes on to save the game for Ken Hill. Smith strikes out Darren Dalton with 2 outs in the 9th to end the ballgame. Ken Hill wins his 8th game, a career high against 5 losses. Tommy Green 5-2. Lee Smith 22nd save.
11 looks on Tuesday night as the California Angels host the Kansas City Royals. We start in the top of the 2nd inning. Mike McFarland hits a ball in foul territory, and the ball goes through the ball boy's legs. Then later in the top of the 2nd inning, we go from some bad fielding to some great fielding. Kurt Stillwell hits a ball to short right field, and Luis Sojo makes a great diving catch. That ended the top of the 2nd inning. Then in the bottom of the 2nd inning, Sojo would do it with his bat. He grounds a single to right field, scoring Dave Parker from 3rd base, and the Angels led 1-0. Then later in the bottom of the 2nd inning, Max Venable lines a grand slam home run to right field, his first home run of the year, his first career grand slam, and this gave the Angels a 5-0 lead. And we'll take another look at this grand slam swing from Max Venable. Moving out of the top of the 3rd inning, Brian McRae hits a single to right field. It scores Terry Shumpert from second base, RBI number 33 for McRae, and the score was 5-1. Then later in the top of the third inning, Carmelo Martinez lines a double down the left field line. It scores Brian McRae from second base, RBI number 17 for Martinez, and California led 5-2. Then in the bottom of the third inning, Donnie Hill grounds a ball to Terry Shumpert, who tries to tag Gary Gaetti going to second base. The ball gets away, and Dave Parker scores from third base, and the Angels led 6-2. Then in the top of the fourth inning, more home runs. This one from Wally Joyner. He crushes a two-run home run to right center field, his 11th home run of the year. RBIs number 54 and 55 for Joyner, and the Angels led 8-2. Then in the bottom of the sixth inning, with the Angels leading 9-2, Dave Parker hits a solo home run to right field, his 7th of the year. RBI number 33 for Parker, and the Angels led 10-2. Then in the top of the seventh inning, the Royals answer back. Danny Tarble hits a solo home run to center field, his 15th home run of the year. RBI number 51 for Tarble, and this made the score 10-3 California. From beautiful Toronto, Canada on Tuesday night, the Blue Jays hosting the Minnesota Twins. We start in the top of the second inning with no score. Mike Pagliarulo at the plate for the Twins. Shane Mack on first base. Mack breaks for second, and Pagliarulo hits a single to left center field. Mookie Wilson bobbles the ball, an error on Wilson on the play, and Shane Mack scores all the way from first base, giving the Twins a 1-0 lead. The Twins made the score 2-0 on a sacrifice fly by Chili Davis in the top of the third inning. Then in the bottom of the third inning, the Blue Jays would get on the board. An unusual source for power, Rene Gonzalez, belts a solo home run to left field, his first home run of the year, and this made the score 2-1. And when Gonzalez passes home, he gets a kick on the pants from teammate Devon White. We now take a look into the Twins bullpen. That's starting pitcher Scott Erickson. He was placed on the 15-day disabled list today because of a sore right elbow. Moving on to the bottom of the fifth inning, a funny play. Devon White of Toronto steals second base, and Jim McKeon, the second base umpire, slips and falls on the play. And you can see Devon White having a good laugh. Here's another look at it. White steals the base, and there goes Jim McKeon to the ground. In the Toronto dugout, however, Derek Bell didn't think this was too funny. He was having trouble staying awake. But Bell had enough energy to score the tying run in the bottom of the eighth inning. With Minnesota leading 3-2, Manny Lee will bloop a single to left center field. It scores Bell from second base, and this ties the score 3-3. Then in the bottom of the ninth inning, with the bases loaded, Rance Mulliniks wins it for the Blue Jays with a single to center field. It scores Devon White from third with the winning run. The Blue Jays defeat the Twins 4-3.
And Dodgers coach Ben Hines staying loose on Tuesday night as Los Angeles is at San Diego. A key play in the top of the first with one man out, and Brett Butler on second base. Butler trying to steal third, and Scott Coolbaugh missing the tag or applying it too late, and Butler's safe at third base. And then Eddie Murray would ground to Coolbaugh, who elects not to try to get Butler at the plate. Instead, he throws out Murray at first. Butler scores on the ground out, and it's 1-0. Then Gary Carter, the next batter with two men out, would double. This would score Stan Javier to make it 2-0. Had Coolbaugh got the tag down in time at third base, the Dodgers wouldn't have scored in the top of the first. In the top of the second, it would be Butler extending his hitting streak to 16 games. That's his second 16-game hitting streak this season, as this one all hustle. He gets the infield single, beating Tony Fernandez's throw, and then Alfredo Griffin scores from second base. The throw high from Fred McGriff to Benito Santiago, and Greg Riddick's club trails 3-0. And in the bottom of the sixth, it would be one big headache for Riddick. He would see Gerald Clark drive in Tony Gwynn on this ground out to make it 3-1. But then, as Ramon Martinez finishes up the inning, and he would go on to record his 11th victory of the season, here he gets Santiago to ground out, and Santiago going back to the dugout would throw his helmet and hit Riddick in the head accidentally, this off camera. And Riddick would have to leave the game with a severe headache, and the Dodgers go on to win 4-1.